kind of like wanting more romance from her husband, wanting more time from her husband, being able to talk and have communication with him and him taking more of an initiative. Even though in the beginning she was reserved, it didn't mean that she planned on being reserved the whole marriage. So, like step it up as a man. Basically, is where Kirsten was coming from. Well, this week, not Shaq stepped on a ladder. Boop, 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 boop. He said, step what up? Baby, I'll get to the roof. Relax, relate, debrief. We are excited to bring to you yet another episode of Two Sisters Just Casually Doing What We Do. So, as you know, this channel is just a simple, fun channel where we relax, we relate, and we debrief. We talk about hot topics, any and everything that really just comes across our mind, and we just want to share with you. I'm your younger sister, Jackie.
And I'm your older sister, Nikki.
And we are real life sisters that started this podcast. Thank you so many that have already joined in with us, but we know there are so many more of you out there that have not. So please be sure that when you watch this video, you subscribe. Hopefully you appreciate our chemistry as sisters, our interaction, our humor, because I'm funny. But so
allegedly.
But thank you so much for always coming in. Right now, we are currently reviewing Married at First Sight. I don't know if you're watching. I don't know if you've heard of this show ever. If you started watching and you stopped, right now we're reviewing season 16 and we are on episode 12. Okay. Woo, 12 or 13. But my spirit says 12.
Okay.
So we're going to go with that. But right now we are on episode 12. If you have not seen any of our reviews, feel free to go back and watch. But starting now, we're starting on episode 12, and you don't really have to watch it to keep up and know, because we're about to give you all the tea anyway.
Basically.
So with that, let's get started. Did I tell y'all to subscribe? I'm not sure if I did, but I'm going to tell you again, subscribe.
Subscribe.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's my authoritative finger. Subscribe.
Subscribe. Do I have one too? Subscribe.
Make sure that after you subscribe, that you share and that you're hitting the notification bell so that when we drop our episodes, which we are currently dropping one a week, you're welcome. Sure. Make sure that you are notified when our episode does drop. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Let's get into this review of episode 12. Whew. First couple we're going to start with is going to be Airris and Jasmine.
I knew you were going to say that.
Let's start with them.
Let's start with them.
You want me to start my review? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you start all the reviews.
Oh, okay. Not the instruction while we do it.
Yes.
Okay. Airris and Jasmine. Okay. If you don't know how I feel, I'm just going to sum it up very quickly. I'm going to try not to keep going in on Airris because I have noticed that I do go in on Airris a lot. I would like to stand 10 toes down about what I'm saying. However, I feel as though still Airris is here for Married at First Sight, the game. Okay. And when he sat down with Dr. Pepper, and when Airris sits down, I feel like this is something new. Let me know if you agree. I feel like his gaze is off. Like he's sitting there because it's an appointed time that they have to be there to sit with the experts. No? Do you not feel that way?
No, I feel like he's just the same way on camera all the time.
Okay. So for me, when they were the experts at this point now have been married, they're coming up closer to decision day, thank God. And basically not Airris, all of the couples sat down with Dr. Pepper, who was kind of getting a gauge on where the couples were. So when it was time for her to sit down with Airris and Jasmine finally started expressing some of her frustrations. Like she's basically said, like, I've took a lot. It's taken a lot for me to get to where I love myself, get to being to where I am, which beautiful, Jasmine. And it's hard to come into a marriage where the guy that you're with is basically telling you like he's not feeling you, he doesn't like you, he doesn't think that you're attractive, enough for him. You're an attractive female. He doesn't think that you're attractive enough for him. Basically, all of the things that I have said in previous episodes, whether you want to believe it or not, messes with your esteem and how a person feels about themselves. She came out and basically confirmed all of that. Dr. Pepper said something very interesting. So Dr. Pepper said, what if all of that has nothing to do with you? Is what she asked Jasmine. And so Jasmine was like, my husband doesn't give me intellectual conversation.
Mm-mm.
And I said, preach, Jasmine, because he doesn't. Aris has only been giving her the superficial stuff. So when she said, well, what if all of his things that he's saying and his behavior have nothing to do with you? Aris proceeds to tell a story that he often feels like, what's the point in getting close to people because they're going to just end up leaving him. He's had a lot of death around him, his best friends, I believe some family members, things like that. So he just felt like he doesn't often open up quick or doesn't open up easily because he feels like people always end up leaving. The issue that I have is that, like we have said on previous episodes, then why didn't you deal with that before you got married? And because I believe that that could be true about Aris, I only believe that he was saying that as an excuse. I don't believe that that's why he's not opening up. I believe that he was just giving Dr. Pepper an excuse. And I believe that Aris could really feel that way. But the main reason why he's not opening up to Jasmine is because he doesn't like Jasmine. And it has nothing to do with his fears, his past, or anything. That's why I feel like they're continuing not to make it. I feel like Jasmine deserves better. There were some other things that happened that I'll let you touch on. But I'm still not a fan of Aris. I don't believe that Aris really likes Jasmine. And I am happy to see Jasmine is now checking out.
So I will say that I do feel like he was being genuine in saying that he mentioned losing his father, which is a very important figure in your life, which when we look at relationships, we look at how we interact with our parents, with our mother and father, if they were there. And we've had the privilege of being raised in a 2-parent household. And so we saw a relationship that was together. I think that Jasmine has that piece because she has both of her parents. They're together, right? Or are they divorced?
I'm not sure.
But she
I'm
had
not 100%. I want to say that they are. I'm just not 100%.
right. But she had, yeah, they are because she stays in her parents' house. But she had both of her parents that are present or were present in her life. And so I believe that those are the things that shaped her because I know for myself personally, those are the things that shape me. You know, when you're looking for, as a woman that's looking for a husband or a man in their life, us being daddy girls, I look to my father, right? I look for the love that he has shown, the protection, he's a protector. And so all of these things, I believe that Jasmine has experienced, she hasn't found in Aris because he just truly doesn't know how to be them. It's not an excuse because there are plenty of people who have not had fathers in their lives and who have been able to become good husbands as well as good parents. But I do feel like in this particular instance, this is where his block is. I mean, I can see how on one end it seems like an excuse. Jasmine did admit that she has heard before about those individuals who have passed away in his life. So there had been some type of conversation in regards to that. I think the issue with Jasmine was basically it's been from these past couple of weeks where I've been trying to connect with you, trying to get on the same level as you, and I keep coming up short. And all you want to keep talking about is you're not really attracted to me. Let's take this off the table. I don't know about this and that. And so it seems as if I'm really the problem. So when you sit down in front of Dr. Pepper and Dr. Pepper gets you to open up, it makes it feel like it's not genuine. So even after they had the conversation with Dr. Pepper, they go back to the apartment, they get some questions that they're supposed to ask each other. And homegirl completely checked out. Every question she was asking, he was asking her, and she was like, I don't know. I really told you everything. I don't really know. I don't have confidence in our marriage, basically. So
She sure did.
What is there left to do? And I don't blame her because as you stated, when someone is, whether he is purposely doing it or not, when people's words do have an effect. And when you are someone who has built yourself up, who has got your self-esteem together, you do not want to be in another relationship with anyone who is going to make you feel less than who you are. And she has reached her breaking point. We can see that that's played out. And she mentioned on the after show that she doesn't trust him. So if there's no trust, there's I need to be reassured that you're in this relationship for the right reason. So while he opened up, which I thought, I mean, out of all things to say, I thought that, especially since his prior behavior, for him to really open up, and he was really saying, like, I'm really trying to open up and have a conversation. And I know you don't feel like he's real, but I don't.
No, I'm saying, is he real? When was he trying to open up and have a conversation?
When they were trying to do the questions. He's like, I already opened up in front of Dr. Pepper, so I understand that there are some conversations, and you're the one that said you wanted to have a deeper conversation. And at this time, while I'm trying to have the deeper conversation with you, you're not feeling it. It's kind of like, Kirsten and Shaq. When now that Kirsten's coming around, Shaq is like, baby, where were you weeks ago? Where were you? Where were you?
It wasn't that Shaq wasn't feeling it. It's just that Shaq felt like, we'll do it when I'm ready now.
Exactly. And
Shaq
so
was a little tit for tat demon.
You're right.
No, he's not. No, he's not. I'm just
the table essentially has flipped. So now she's on the other end, like, nah, you had plenty of chances. And at this point, you said what you said. And she just straight giving him the cold shoulder, like, okay.
I don't want to discredit Aris's experience that he is saying that has. I believe that he probably does feel that way when he gets into something where he is genuinely interested. So the reason why I find that what he said to Dr. Pepper, not to say that it's not genuine, but the reason why I'm having a hard time with what he said to her is because I only feel like that's applicable when you are genuinely interested in a person. That's how I felt about what he was saying. I believe that that's real. I know people that are like that have types, they lose people or they've dealt with rejection, especially coming from parents that just feel like nobody's going to be there. Nobody's going to stay. Nothing's going to be permanent. Everything's going to be a revolving door. I absolutely understand what he's saying. I only think that those feelings come into play when it's somebody that he's interested in. I don't think those are the feelings that are in play with Jasmine. I think the feelings that he had, I know it sounds like I'm so hard on Aris.
But I disagree though. I disagree.
Yeah, I feel like the feelings that he has with Jasmine have nothing to do with any of that. He has not liked Jasmine from day one.
Well, we know that he has not been attracted to her. But what I'm saying is that I disagree in that aspect, because if you're somebody, and he mentioned it when he was talking, was saying, I really don't, the reason why I haven't had like real solid relationships is because I don't hold people, I keep them at a distance. And so the reason why he's able to maneuver from female to female or have all these things is because he was not really looking to settle down. Now, what I do agree with you with is that he should have done the work prior to coming on the show. With that being one of his issues, then he should have definitely done the work so that he could learn how to open up more than what he has.
Let me tell you something about men. Well, let me not say that. Like, I'm not trying to put all men in one category, but they will do it for who they want to do it for. That's my point, is that I don't believe it would be so much of a tussle. I still believe his feelings would be there and be valid. But I don't believe that it would be so much of a tussle if it was somebody that he liked from the jump.
Okay. Agree to disagree.
Yes, that's how I feel about Aris. And I still feel like he's on a show. And Aris is conscious, and I'll give him that, because there's no reason to come off or project as, an inconsiderate jerk. So he has moments where he's trying to be considerate, and I've given in that at some points, or I hope I have. He has moments where he is trying to be genuine, but Aris's root thing is, and it's why it's the basis of every conversation, no matter who he has spoken with, whether it has been her, whether it has been her family, whether it has been his family, whether it's been his friend, his cousin, any of them, the basis of it always goes to him not being attracted. It's not like he sat down with his friend and was like, you know how I am with people, like, you know how I do. He sat down and was like, just struggling with like, the attraction. It's a problem for him. in all fairness, it's a problem for a lot of people.
Right.
Then leave it alone. Like we've, like we've said before.
Right. So I think that they're declined.
They're not going to make it. Absolutely not.
Decline.
All right. So next couple, Clint and Gina. Let me tell you, I really feel like Clint and Gina could I really feel like they can make it. I feel like their relationship, even though I know from upcoming episodes, but I feel like their relationship could truly go somewhere if Gina kind of just loosened. I feel like she, I have to give her credit. I feel like she was doing a little bit better. It was interesting that they kind of, when they sat down with Dr. Pepper as well, it was interesting that they were kind of mirroring some of the other issues where Clint felt like he was doing a lot to kind of pull in on the relationship. Like he was doing a lot, doing his part to really kind of go at it. And he felt like he had to keep pulling for Gina to get there. And so he kind of wasn't going to do it anymore. So Gina was acting like a little Kirsten, where she was like, if you want to know, ask me. And he was like, I've never had to sit up there and ask.
I've never.
He just felt like at some point he's looking for a natural progression. So to where I don't want to feel like I'm sitting here pulling teeth. I want it to be natural that my wife wants to come and talk to me and have the banter and the back and forth. And he mentioned that when she comes home, she does come in the room with him and Hank, because Hank, the dog, is staying in Clint's room with Clint. So, and then she was like, well,
Clint and Hank is in the relationship.
Right.
Clint and Hank.
And she mentioned, and she didn't even mention, she was like, she was like, well, I went in there because Hank was in there. And it's like, no, I think that's his point. His point is like, it should be natural, not so much natural so that you don't want to be in a separate room from your husband. So I think that Clint's frustration was coming from not having it not feeling like a natural progression and so it made him feel like he's doing a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of work in the relationship. And to which Gina disagreed when they were talking to Dr. Pepper, right?
Right, she did.
She was like, no, and she kind of felt like, if you feel like, which fair, she kind of felt like then communicate better. I feel like it didn't matter what Clint, I feel like he is communicating. I feel like he is showing up. And so you not showing up is your choice, because you made a choice about Clint when y'all were in Jamaica under the waterfall.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Please stick.
Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
And I know. Oh no, I'm leading. Go ahead.
No.
I know that your part is I know that you're
not your part. Your part. I know that you're gonna have it your way.
Beautiful.
Nothing that
But
I think you're moving too fast. That's what she's saying. That's what Gina's saying.
Yeah. Gina, we got the song for you.
Yeah.
But I just kind of wish that Gina maybe did give Clint a little bit more, because I kind of do think that they could make it. They were answering the questions as well in the jar. I felt that they did well with that. For Clint and Gina this episode, I was like, even though I know what's coming up, I'm gonna go ahead and say there was a glimpse.
Here we go with this.
I know. I didn't want to say it.
time.
I was trying to find another word. But with Gina and Clint, there was a glimpse. I'm sorry. There was.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You didn't see it. They get along well. I really think Clint has a really good personality. And I really think that Gina does mesh with him when she lets herself down. You could see it. I saw that. If we have no hope, what have we?
A glimpse.
I saw it.
Oh God. So here's my thing with, I don't even know, not even just with Gina, but in general.
Okay.
I don't get why people think that the other person that they're with is supposed to be a mind reader. So you're supposed to ask me the questions. And if you don't ask me the questions, then I'm not giving you an answer. Well, aren't we in this process together to learn about each other? We got to learn about each other. Okay. So we can't learn about each other if we're not talking, if we're not having communication, if we're leaving it at the surface level, because you're at the surface. You haven't
which
gone.
which has been Clint's point as well.
Mhm. You're at the surface level with the conversation. You're going in there because the dog is in there. You guys are still in separate rooms. It's not like you spent the night in there. Have you tried to see? Let me see if this can be something. Not that you have to be doing anything, because I don't feel as though just because they have a marriage certificate that they need to do anything, because at the end of the day, they are still strangers, still getting to know each other. But my thing is, what have you done? Like Janice said. Clint said, what have you done for me lately? And I agree with him, because he is the one that's been constantly making the effort. He constantly is saying to people that he wants to learn deeper. But I will say, I don't see much conversation where Clint is asking deeper questions. Ooh. No. So, to an extent, I can understand how Gina can turn that and say, hey, we've been having conversations, we've been talking, but you ain't been asking me anything outside of the
Has
surface
Gina been
level.
asking Clint deep conversations?
I don't believe so.
But to your point, then don't get in front of Dr. Pepper and make it seem like,
everybody want to get buck in front of the experts, but when we behind scenes or when we have our own, everybody want to get buck in front of the experts. Yeah.
No, get you buck.
So my thing is,
that's a good point to me.
Yeah, right. So my thing is that you guys cannot come to these experts and act like this person is not doing what you want them to do when you are not doing your part. And your part is to open up and communicate. How can you expect to learn any more about him if you don't even ask the question? Forget Clint not asking you the question. You don't even ask this. When the last time you asked him a deep question? Not
my God, today.
I can see no glimpse. No. They're not going to remain together, because you know what they give me? Friends. We're friends. He's a roommate. I'm in one room. He's in the other. Hank frequents his room very much. It seems like Hank likes him a little bit more than he likes her. And which is Hank is their dog, y'all, if you don't watch the show. And so it's actually her dog, but I say it's his now. But so they're giving me won't be together.
So because you feel like they have friends, do you feel like they have friend zoned each other?
Yes, they have.
Has Gina friend zoned Clint?
Clint has,
and he doesn't know how to get out of the friend zone with her.
Clint has friend zoned her as well. Clint friend zoned her back in Jamaica when she acted a fool. He was like, okay, you can be a friend.
You think Clint friend zoned her?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Because it's only so many times a man is going to keep saying he wants to get to know you and you don't speak up or try, like you're not even like giving in a little bit. It's not really no affection, like your attraction really there. It's just like, yeah, like we cool. We talk, we come home, we have conversation, but there's nothing that's flowing. And therefore that reason, he's out.
I'm out. You're out. He's out.
No.
Well,
sweetie, let me say it, okay? I said for that reason, he's out. You may go.
Oh, okay. So they have not had a natural flow into anything. It seems very like step by step and it's very like analytical, which I guess like in the process a part of it is pretty analytical, but it's very like step by step and it's just not a progressive flow
at all.
I feel like Gina friend zoned Clint, so he just didn't have a choice. So, but
either way, they're stagnant.
I don't think either way. I definitely don't think that they're gonna make it.
When something's stagnant, it begins to stink. So
they're Okay. They're declined. They're not going to make it.
They're declined.
Sorry, Gina and Clint. And plus, we know like a little glimpse of what's going on. Okay. Nicole and Chris. You know, okay, now I ain't gonna hold you. I did laugh. Because,
what?
let me tell you why I laughed. I laughed in the very beginning because Nicole is, I have said this, or maybe we were talking about this. Nicole to me is like really trying to orchestrate every step of this process with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
She is constantly trying to orchestrate it. She is also, whether she realizes it or not, because we're not gonna get tongue tied. Whether she realizes it or not, she does not. She is really too much trying to control it. Like if he responds to something, she's like, "That's not really how he feels." Plus, I'm a bully, so let me be sure. This is going the other. She's really trying to narrate it, and she doesn't. I don't think that she sees that she's doing that. Nor do I think that she sees that she is annoying. Nicole's annoying. I said it. Nicole is DTM. She does too much, and maybe from her past relationships. Because why?
Loose.
Right, the tongue twisting. Why? So I think from her past relationship, maybe she doesn't realize that she's doing it, but I think that she's really trying to make sure that it's not going to be another bomb dropped on her like they've been dropped in the past. Mm-hmm. And it's like, Nicole, the way you set yourself up in this Married at First Sight, you're in a whole different situation, and you literally put yourself in the way of a bomb if it does drop. Like you literally stepped on the grenade yourself if it does, by putting yourself in this experiment. Or you could be in this experiment and actually end up with your person, because Chris is actually really cool. Mm-hmm. But Nicole is just trying to orchestrate it too much. And they opened up going to goat yoga with her dad. Yeah. She introduced her dad to yoga, and now he's a yoga instructor. And so they're sitting there talking, and she wanted her dad and her husband to get along. Okay, that's cool. Mm-hmm. But she's like, so Chris started asking questions, and I think he said like, how was Nicole when she was younger? Mm-hmm. Like a typical question. And the dad can answer. Here go Nicole. Go ahead, Dad. And you can be honest. Tell him. You can be honest. He can answer the question. Nicole, we don't need you. And let him answer. And that's what he did. She gave that little extra oomph, and that dad told the truth. Nicole was nasty. She was a problem child. She was talking back all the time. She was disrespectful. And Nicole sat there and kind of got big-eyed a little bit. Well, not you trying to be honest. Go ahead and tell him. That dad told. Didn't he tell it? Everything. And she was just kind of sitting there like, no, I ain't mean to tell all of that. Well, then stop trying to orchestrate everything. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But the dad, and the dad was fair in his assessment. He, her parents are divorced. And he was like, when we got divorced, anytime I would try to go get her, I was taking her away from her environment. I was taking her away from her friends. I was taking her away from having fun. I didn't even have a bedroom for her to come to, so it was oftentimes uncomfortable. I was bringing her to a couch. And so she had an attitude a lot of times. That's what he said. That's what the dad said. So, and Chris was just kind of like, oh, okay. And just kind of like understanding. But so I just thought that part was funny, because when she told the dad, go ahead, the dad really went ahead. She was just like, oh. And I was like, now see, that's what you get. That's what you get. But I wish Nicole would relax a little bit. I don't think she realizes that she is truly trying to, I don't think it's malicious. Right. I don't think it's anything that's malicious at all. I think that she's just really she doesn't realize how much she is trying to control the process, her movement and Chris's, it feels like. Agreed. She is trying to control the process. She also mentioned that she is afraid that one day she's going to look up and Chris is going to be out the door, because she feels it's probably due to the fact that she does not have control. I'm like, you have to understand, when you're in the only thing that you can control is you and your actions. And if you continue showing up for the relationship and showing up what you need to do, and if it's truly a relationship that's for you, then you shouldn't have to walk on the side of fear. But she also expressed that comes from being in relationships where people
would walk all over her, do what they wanted to do, and then they were up and out the door. And it probably started from when her father and mother got divorced, and then her father left. And then so now it's this point again, because we all have those issues, have issues when in our childhood that if we haven't dealt with. And she also mentioned that she felt like, and maybe I don't know if it was on this episode or an upcoming episode, where she is realizing she has a lot more stuff. She has not gotten over a lot of stuff she thought she got over.
Didn't she mention in Jamaica though that she had done the work in therapy?
She did.
Did she mention that or no?
I think she did mention that, but I think the thing is that she probably didn't move on to a holistic relationship like she's in with Chris now. And so if you've done the work, I don't know if she went into a relationship after that or not, but you still got issues. And you're still going to need to go to, y'all need to go to couples therapy. You're going to need to go to individual therapy, because you have experienced things, even as she's coming out and saying things on TV. She never told her mother that the boyfriend burned her with the cigarette, even though the mother knew. She thinks her mom knew, but because she didn't say anything, she didn't press the issue. So it's a lot of suppressing of feelings, a lot of hiding, a lot of I can't be this way or that way, because you had a lot going on. And when you start to uncover those layers, it's like, you thought there's one layer when it was uncovered, okay, I'm good. But you find out there's several more layers.
I feel like you're trying to preach to us this episode.
No, I'm not trying to preach. I'm not trying to preach. I'm just trying to get an understanding of what, is going on with her, because, this can be a good relationship. Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's like, you can see that clearly she had some issues when she was younger. Clearly, I don't know. I love my father. So, God forbid if my parents separated, when I was younger, I would go with my father. I would not have a problem going with my father. So, even though if my girlfriends will be over here anyway, it's just because, that's it. But for whatever reason, she felt like, she didn't want to be over there or whatever. And you also don't know how truly the breakup really affected her. And
sure, yeah.
Doesn't sound like she got help in that time and in that moment. And so she was, had her rebellious moment. I think that, that as they continue working, we see that, there are some things, if I say, one more time, that there are some things and some issues that she has to continue to do the work on. It's not just because you did a couple of sessions or maybe whatever, like sometimes it's a continual work that has to be done, especially when you're trying to make your relationship work.
Agreed. So Nicole, yeah, I'm just classifying you as DTM for me. You're still doing too much. And so but I will say, I do think that she genuinely wants to be married. She genuinely wants to be in a stable, love-filled relationship, and she's on the show for that. And I think that Chris is a good guy, and I really can see them going the distance with it. I could just see him, kind of needing her to bring it in though.
Right.
And I feel like maybe even off camera, or maybe once the show is over, he'll be able to have those conversations with her. I'm not worried about them. I just want her to see that.
Right. And like we've been saying, Kristen is an adult and he's able to express himself and has done at certain times.
Yes, correct.
You've been a little slick, Chris. I see you.
He's been what?
Been a little slick with the mouth. I don't like, well, ho, but you don't like. But he has said it. He has spoken up. So
yeah, he's supposed to say what he doesn't like.
No, I know. I'm just saying. So we have seen him, being able, although people keep saying that, he's in a relationship and he just walked over, we talked about in our last video, Chris gives the energy of, it's only so much you're going to do to me before I have to show up and show out. 2 S's.
How many times do you think that, or what do you think drives a nice person or someone who's perceived to always be the nice guy? What do you think drives them to that point?
To the point of being mad.
Yeah, or just kind of maybe lashing out.
Well, I mean, I think that it's because realistically, as humans, and we can only take so much, and some can take more than others. Some are less patient than others. Some are more patient. But at the end of the day, we all reach a breaking point. We all reach a point and we say, all right, enough is enough. And so I think that, his cup will run over, and then that's when he'll have the conversations. But
I
that's
think that's one of the issues with communication is when you suppress, and then
yeah, that's
and
true.
then and then it's always a lashing out.
Yeah.
Whereas if maybe you would have said something, because I think that a lot of people do that. They
Right.
suppress. I think men and women do it. And I think that they do it for different reasons, right? Like, so I think some women sometimes don't want to appear to be nagging, or they don't want to. And it is something that you would have to consider because it is easy to start nagging. Or I think that men do it just because men are just taught not to be emotional and things of that nature. And I just think that area, I'm not even saying that this is Chris, this is more just a general conversation. I just think that area is a tricky area because you don't want to have it always be where you're not effectively communicating. And so when it's always time for you to communicate, it's always stomping and a lashing out because you explode. Nobody wants to constantly be around ticking time bombs
Right.
in a relationship. So I do hope that he is the type that puts it out there, like, like you were saying earlier, I don't want, whatever. I do hope that he does put that out there up front. And it doesn't have to be anything. It could just be him just expressing what he doesn't like, what he doesn't want, Nicole, without it being a whole big rendezvous.
Right.
Just him just expressing it, so that he doesn't have to lash out and express everything all at once in probably a less more and do it in a more non-eventful way. I don't know if that was the right word. My words have been twisting me up tonight, and that's upsetting. So
it's okay. But we get the gist of what you're saying. But I wanted to add to that when you said the communication piece, because that is true. And speaking from my own personal experience, a lot of times I have not communicated the best because of feelings of being cautious of other people's feelings, even though people were not cautious of mine and did not care about, what they said to me. And oftentimes, and also because I know that my words can cut when I get to that point. And so I'm trying to spare folks, so to speak. But when I reach that point of stop sparing, it's because I stopped caring. And when I stop caring, then I'm just saying whatever. It doesn't, at this point, it's not about your feelings anymore. It's about me and how I feel. And so effective communication doesn't wait until you get to that point where everything you spit out is kind of vile, or, it's not productive and it's not helping the situation. Effective communication says, how can I communicate in the best way so that we both walk away with an understanding?
Right.
And we have to get to that point for whatever. There's many different reasons for why I did what I did. It wasn't just one particular thing, or how I responded to certain things, whether it be family or friends. But I had to get to the point to say, all right, you cannot keep responding like that. It's not, it's not ideal. As an adult who wants to move into a marriage with someone, I'm not trying to get into a marriage to be holding on to all this different stuff. So at the end of the day, when I'm overloaded with everything that I've experienced, then I just start spewing everything. I might not bring up stuff in the past, but I will go in because I know how to go in. But I ain't gonna brag about that because I don't give the devil no room.
That's what granddad said.
Yeah, no, but I do, am recognizing that, and dealing with my own self. It's okay. I understand whatever happened as a kid, whatever happened as a young adult, whatever issues or things that you ran into. Still, in this very moment, in this present time, you have to learn how to effectively communicate. And that's not something that we're always taught. We're not always taught how to effectively communicate.
No, a lot of times we're not taught that, especially in our community.
Right.
And also you have to
okay, but
learn,
one thought for a second. I was going to say, and because of that, we pick up from what's in the environment and what we see, and then we often become.
That's true. Yeah. Because also too, with learning how to effectively communicate, it's also always going to be self-work, because when you're doing the self-work and when you're seeing yourself, when you're starting to get glimpses of yourself, there's things that you're supposed to start working on so that people can see the change.
Right.
As well, to say like, oh, okay, like that's good. I could see, like there's some people that have told me they saw a change in me. I appreciate it. Cheese. And it's from work though. But yeah, I just think that
I'm still waiting to see it in you, but go ahead. No, I'm playing.
Yeah, okay.
I'm messing with you.
I don't snap as fast. Nothing. I don't do those. I'm not interested. Everything doesn't irritate me. I don't let stuff bother me. It's just not. Yeah, it's not for me. I'm all about this chill, soft life and getting everything that God has for me. I just don't have the energy for nothing else. I'm sorry, I don't. Because it's too much life to live, and it's going too fast to be worried about you cut me off on the road that deep. It's not that deep. I don't care. Go ahead. Bye-bye. Go.
Right.
But like, I don't know what we put energy into and why we're putting that much energy into it. But yeah, I just thought about like Chris being classified as the quiet one and not speaking up, and then that's where I kind of originated the question of what's the breaking point for some people to where they get to that snapped.
Right.
And what would be Chris's? We don't really know. We don't know these people, but could he snap? Sure. Could I see him snapping? Sure. I don't, think he will. I think as long as he's doing, just what we said before, not letting things pile up, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, agreed.
As a couple.
I accept them. They're accepted.
Yeah, I think that they're definitely going to say yes on decision day and make it. And our last couple, who I have moved from glimpse to pure hope now. Just so you know, there's no more glimpses. This is pure hope.
Well, praise God for that.
The last couple now is praise the Lord, I forgot their name. Shaquille and Kirsten. Let me say something about Shaquille and Kirsten. Let me tell you something about Shaquille.
Baby.
When he said it was his ego that was involved, that's what he meant. It was his ego that was involved. Shaquille ain't because he. So Kirsten has been speaking about, the chemistry getting there, the romance getting there, and she's kind of like wanting more romance from her husband, wanting more time from her husband, being able to talk and have communication with him, and him taking more of an initiative. Even though in the beginning she was reserved, it didn't mean that she planned on being reserved the whole marriage. So, like step it up as a man. Basically is where Kirsten was coming from. Well, this week, not Shaq stepped on a ladder. Boop, 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 boop. He said, step what up? Baby, I'll get to the roof. So she came home and he had set up, also talk about a little control issue. Shaq, I see it there in you. Or wanting to, just have the say in everything like Nicole. Shaq. But he decided to do, when she came home, he had set up like body painting and he was gonna paint her love. So she had to change her clothes. She was like, okay. First of all, she came home. He took the initiative, set it all up. So when he told her what, was going to be going on, she was giddy. She was like, okay. Which for Kirsten was different. Because Kirsten normally would have been like, I don't really know. Like, she was a little bit of a shutdowner there. And in the beginning, she just explained that Kirsten not having attractiveness to Shaq is the difference in Aris not having attractiveness to Jasmine, if that makes sense. like, because she wasn't attracted, that wasn't what she always led with, and she still wanted to try.
Right, right.
So I will say that even though she had mentioned her not being attracted in that way, she still, like, had that going on. So she got changed. Shaq did the body paint. She was like, oh, like she was asking him something, and he was like, I just need you to just let me do what I'm doing. Okay. Like she was just like, okay. I was like, she's just asking questions, Shaq. So she was just kind of like talking to him, and he was just painting, and she was like, I see your skills. She was just standing there. She had on her white outfit, and she was just standing there, like letting him paint and all of this stuff. So I was like, okay, it was very not like it was like nice. They were communicating, they were flirting, I was like, this is like a really nice initiative, Shaq. Well, then he went and got the paper plate of strawberries. I said, so he brought out the paper plate. They had the strawberries on. I wasn't sure what he was doing either. I was like, so then because she was still standing there in her paint, which means she had like stuff on her hands. It wasn't anything for her to do. So I was just like, what's going on? So then he came up shaking the bottle of Cool Whip. No, but let me tell y'all something. Shaq's whole energy,
shifted,
even from him painting. Mm-hmm. So when he got that Cool Whip, he was like, yeah, you trust me? You trust me? He was giving her everything that she had asked for. Honey, she was like, yeah. He got that whipped cream in her mouth, and she was just going with it. Honey, he got that strawberry. They was kissing before you knew it. I said, well, I don't know what she thought he was not bringing. That stepped up on that table and brought it, and then told her, you want another one? So another strawberry. I said, but they wasn't really strawberries. I was like, So he came to, and she was just as giddy. She was like, we know what to do. She was just, and I was just like, this whole relationship in the last 30 seconds of this show became a whole turn from strawberries and Cool Whip. Don't underestimate the power of strawberries and Cool Whip.
I can't.
I was like, but I tell you, it was the way Shaq got the strawberries and got the Cool Whip. It was like, yeah, you trust me? And then put it in there. And it was just like, he was just very like, oh, like, see, I don't know if Kirsten was taken aback, but I was.
I certainly was.
Like it just came, that ego that he was talking about, it came out like, boom, boom, don't think I won't do it. Boom, boom, I can do it. You was the one that was trying to act all reserved. But now since we offer that, let's go. And Kirsten went. Then she went, closed that door. All right.
I mean, honestly, you've said it all. We saw, that he clearly took charge in the relationship. He listened, where she said that she wanted to spend time with him, and
yes,
he wasn't at work at this particular. He wasn't mentoring nobody. I was taken back at that. I felt like he had the strawberries and the whipped cream too hard for me. Like you sprayed it and then you followed up with a strawberry, and the strawberry wasn't so small either. So so it couldn't be me because I'm not my throat. Calm down. He was excited. I'm telling you, that's what you're talking about.
That was not exciting. He was very, very. He was assertive.
He said on the after show that he just took the moment. He saw how well that the moment was going with them painting and with him painting her and how they were flirting with each other and things like that. And so he just said, hey, let me just try and see. And so from up until that point, all we've known him to be doing is giving her forehead kisses. In the beginning, when he asked her to give her a kiss, she was like, she wasn't ready. Even when they were at the altar, they didn't exchange any type of kiss of
they sure didn't.
The nature that we saw on Wednesday on the episode.
Shaq did what she asked though.
Right. So they had advanced to the next part or level of intimacy for them. And which was great, is great to see. And so yes, then you start to see like, okay. So this can be a relationship that works
exactly
out, that, they can come together and say yes on decision day and still, perhaps be married even after decision day. So,
Whoa, what are you saying? Are you Are you giving them a?
No, I'm saying I understand what you're saying. I still give him a decline. Per the next week, future episodes where I seen something ain't gonna mesh. I think that's what's messing me up.
You saw when he was talking to Jasmine, right? Even though I feel like basically that he's a good person and he's naturally an encourager,
Yes.
and so he was trying to encourage Jasmine. I don't think he was flirting with her.
We gotta see. I don't know. It was all. I didn't think.
I know McKinley coming back talking about he slid in Gina's DMs.
So I'm like, where's Clint?
So we gotta see. With Hank. No.
Not with Hank.
He said that was so funny when he told Gina he officially changed Hank's last name.
Hank was like, yes, sir. When did that?
Baby, Shaq and Kirsten, let me know. This is the one thing I was concerned about with what we see in the future episode. Mm-hmm. She says to him, like, oh, first of all, let me give Shaq also some credit. She is a real estate agent. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she wanted to do some new things with her logo. So she was talking to him about it. Oh, and he was coming up with ideas and drawing like a new logo for her. And so when that part, the strawberries hadn't come into effect yet. So they was talking about the logo. And I was like, see, here's the glimpses I'm talking about. Now I told y'all, after the painting and the strawberries, I'm done. Hope. Only thing was, she says to him in the future episodes, she says, well, you gotta get ready to buy us a house. And he was like, I gotta get ready to buy you a house. I was like, girl, this is an off-camera conversation. Because first of all, one thing Shaq gonna do is get easily offended. Easily offended. He been showing you that all these 12 episodes we've been. Shaq gonna get offended. So when she said that to him, I was just like, it could be editing, but I don't know how I feel about that. Telling a man, well, now you gotta buy us a house.
Oh, I want to go back to this because I remember I wrote it down. I just looked at my phone where Dr. Pepper told them stop the forehead kissing. Dr. Pepper said it's time to move on from that. Like, stop it, okay? Like, you didn't had enough forehead kissing. You talking about that's what you like. I like for him to kiss me on my forehead. Dr. Pepper said, stop it, and stop it now. And baby, didn't they stop it? Didn't they stop it?
This is giving nothing.
She said it's giving nothing.
How they don't like. Girl.
Yeah, she was like, nah, y'all get that together and stop. Connect.
She did tell them that.
She did.
Pepper is funny.
She said, step it up. And when I tell you, Shaq came and he stepped it up, and Kirsten opened up. She wasn't off, and she was able to receive what he was given and matching his energy. And I think that, if we're basing it just off of this episode, we're talking about just this episode, do they have the potential to make it after decision day? Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Say yes on decision day, yes. And after, will they stay married? Yes. But baby, when you telling a man to buy you a house,
it was just like, it was like, get yourself together now and buy a house.
Yeah, and I'm with you. That's a conversation that we can have off camera. And
because
we can talk about our future. And
it's also like very particular, right? Like, we're in a different time, so it's particular. It can be a good conversation, or it can be an annoying one. It just depends on the person.
Well, and I think it's also how she said it. It's not like we need to buy a house or we're purchasing. It's like, you need to get us a house.
Well, how many people have that mindset where, as the man, you need to, let's go. You need to be doing everything. And there's plenty of men who are like, they want to do that. They want to be the provider, the protector, all of that. They want to do all of that. And then there's some men that is like, no, you can also step up. Which is very much how I feel about Shaq. That's why I was like, now, as you've been getting to know him, even I know to take that conversation. Right.
Yeah, I'm like, we can't talk about that.
Yeah. So
I have a question though for you.
Yeah.
So what is your view on that? Like, so do you want to be involved in that particular process? Like, so when, are you good with your husband just going out and picking a house for you guys and saying and surprising you? Because I've seen some men do that, where they purchase the house and then they bring their wife and say, welcome home.
But like, in how long? Like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm that. I like spontaneity. I like surprises.
But a house ain't one.
But have we talked about, like, because what if you are into, the Spanish style? I don't like no Spanish style home. And then you come surprising me with a stuff like, I would be like devastated. So I feel like to some level, I hope that we've had conversation where you understood me enough for us to, like, meet in the middle. I don't want full ground on anything. I'm very much, I am traditionally modern. I made that up. I made it up.
Explain, please.
And what I mean by that is I don't mind, like, I really don't mind, like, being in partnership with my husband. I'm old school. I really want God to be the head, the center, and all of that. That is important to me. So that is something that I require first, because I need to know that we're, going in the right direction with that. And there's also just my faith in God lets me know that as long as we keep him first collectively and at the center, it's nothing that we won't be able to accomplish together. But I'm very much so, like, wanting a partnership. I don't really want, I'm not saying I don't need, I don't really, like, necessarily care for a man to come in and just feel like because he's the man, he needs to dominate and do everything and take over and all of that. And that's not to say that I'm trying to walk in masculine energy at all. I'm 198% feminine. The 2% of me just wants to be like your partner with it. Like, I'm out there with you. Like, let's, do whatever. And also too, I think that it's not a terrible narrative on submissiveness. I think that the narrative has just become too many people with a microphone that's just saying whatever, and just being like, women don't submit, women don't submit, women don't submit. And too many women are kind of in the vein of, and I'm not going to submit, and we're not doing that. That's not what we do. This is that and the other. And I just think that when it comes to relationships, there's still a certain order that was in place on purpose.
Right.
And so if you don't feel that way, you don't have to feel that way. But there was a reason why the man was supposed to be the head and, leading and things like that. But I think that a man can do that and very much have a partner. And I think there are a lot of examples of men doing it and their wife being their partner.
Right.
And not under their foot. And that would be what I want, because I'm also not old school where I'm not going to be home barefoot and pregnant.
Nope. I know that's right.
I don't have that
home, but I ain't gonna be barefoot
no.
or pregnant.
So that's why I said traditional modern, because there's some things that, foundationally I would definitely want to keep. And I want my husband to be a leader, and I want to, for us to have ideas and goals separately and collectively. How are we advancing individually? What has God called us to? Because even though he's called us together, he also calls us, he calls us to be individuals. But then when we come together, we bring that together. So I never want to get, lost in who I am and as a person and things like that, we just talked about this, and with being in a relationship. But also I am very much like, as far as my husband is concerned, this is who I'm building kingdom with. Like, this is who I'm building legacy with. This is who I'm building a empire with. Like, I want to build. I want us to come together and build.
Right.
I'm not old school looking for you to come to the table like, why don't you have $1 million so that you could take care of me? But also too, I don't want you coming to the table talking about and as a woman and like, just I really just want it to be like, when it's a God thing, it's a little bit more. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it should be a little bit more of a progressive flow.
Yes.
And so, and I also just I still believe in friendship being the foundation. I still believe in, because I love just like, the friendship aspect and the friendship piece. And I think that everything, who you are as a person, who they are as a person, I think all of that lines up according to God's will. So when you buy me a house, I fully expect that I'm going to love the house, because we've lined up. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, that's just how I look at it. Like, he gonna know me.
Right. Yes.
and I'm gonna know him. So if he's like, "Hey, I surprised you with this house," I believe when I take the blindfold off, I'm gonna be like, "Bitch, stop," and I'm
Right.
gonna be on the title to that house.
Right. Of course, we're gonna use wisdom. I don't mind you went out and buy it, but
I'm gonna be on the title to that
you
house.
ain't gonna be on the title.
I'm like, "Oh, you bought this? When do we go sign at the title company the deed?" So that's where I'm at. I know that is like a huge thing with modern women, masculine women, walking in your femininity and doing this and doing that. Baby, I want us to come together. I want God to lead us, and I want them to be like, now that's what you call couple goals, a power couple.
All
That's
right
what I
now.
want. Hmm?
I said, all right now.
Mhm.
Good.
What are your thoughts? What are your
For me?
expectations? Maybe that's not the right word. What are your feelings on it?
In your definition of modern and traditional, I would agree. The same thing. I want a collaborative effort with God at its center, and that we have our individual goals as well as our collective goals, and that I agree that we would be so connected that if he was to go out and purchase a home without me and surprise me, he wouldn't know me. We would have had conversations. It may have been even been we've gone to look at these homes and
Right.
together, and he noticed like you really like this one.
She really
And
liked it. Yeah.
I just went and got it.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Right. I'm like, oh, title.
And
But
like if yeah, go ahead.
no, but yeah, so like I feel the same way. Like I have those feelings. So I don't want somebody that expectation of me to be at just home not doing nothing. I'm just not that type of person anyway. And I mean, let's be honest, I've been working since the age 16. So it's not like I'm gonna stop working just because I get married. You know what I mean? I'm going to continue to make sure I'm contributing to the relationship and bringing my own, my own self, as well as showing up fully for the relationship, as much as I expect him to.
Yeah. And the one thing I want us to keep doing is keep doing the work, because
Yes.
when you're in even as you get married, just as you continue in life, you're always evolving and always growing. Well, you
Yep.
should be.
Uh-huh.
Always evolving and always growing. So being married, once I, get married, being married after 5 years, I'm going to be a different person. He is too. We're going to have grown to some places. And so I want us to just be very open about that and where we are, and keeping those lines of communication open. And after 10 years, it's going to be looking different again too. So,
Yep.
where are you at with it? Just so that we can always be showing up for each other in the best way. But again, I think when you are God-centered, and then when you're also not self-centered, I can see how that works. Because I often say what worked for the past worked for them.
Right.
Because, or for women who have, some women who love this stay at home
Right.
and just
And
take care of their kids and do this, that, and the other. That works for you. I think that that's excellent. I just don't like trying to define marriage according to what I don't like to define anything.
Right.
Because I think that we all have a destiny and somewhere that God is trying to take us, and you need to know that. So I just think that trying to put everything in a bubble because of what it's supposed to look like is where we're running into a lot of issues.
Yeah. And I like that you said that, in 5 years, I expect to be a different person, and in 10 years, I expect to be a different person. And one thing that stuck with me when mommy and I had conversation was that she was saying that, a lot of times in marriages, people turn the corners and their spouse don't turn with them. So you always want to make sure you're turning that corner with your spouse. It's not just one going, because then that's when you start getting the separation and the, I've grown into a different person and you've been stagnant and you've not doing it. So I don't want that for the relationship. I want us to, like you said, as we're growing, we're both turning that corner. We're both reaching our goals. We're both becoming new people. And as we're becoming new people and evolving and becoming better people, we're evolving with each other as well. We're not leaving each other out. I'm not trying to outdo you. You're not trying to outdo me.
Right.
So, we're in this together. So shout out to my future husband.
Good word, Mom.
Absolutely. Mommy
Yes,
always
so I
dropping the
think
gems.
Huh?
I said, mommy's always dropping the gems.
Yes. She does. She be dropping gems. Then sometimes she just be like, girl, I don't know.
That's truthful. That's a
As my
gem.
mother has gotten older, she has gotten a lot funnier.
She definitely has.
As she's gotten older, she's gotten funnier. Like my dad might still be because the 3 minutes from the clouds was funny. But like he's funny. And my mom was never like, man, she's gotten older. I'd be cracking up. But no, yeah, that's definitely a great gym. And I was gonna say too, I'm a part of me kind of also like can see like being in this season of being like I'm ready for marriage and appreciating it because there's so much more that's been learned, that's been understood that I did not have before. Right. And so I'm excited to step into the fullness of God with that person. So because I'm a different person.
Exactly. I'm loving me. I'm loving me right now. And I can't say I've always I can't say that I always felt that way about myself. And don't let me get teary-eyed, but just seeing where I've come from and what I've come through and what I faced and to still be here, like, come on. So I just can't imagine that, you know, the life that God truly has for me and what he's going to bring, you know, what's going to come into my life that I truly believe is going to be amazing and it was worth the wait. Okay. You know, we talk about age all the time, but sometimes things get better with age. And let me tell you something, baby.
Come on, strawberries. Well, you're not peaches, and you're not strawberries and cream. You peaches and cream.
No.
Peaches and cream.
No, I'm not.
You know what I mean?
No.
Yes. So don't worry. The weather's breaking, and we're gonna be outside.
We outside, y'all.
Cause I'll be outside. I don't be trying to be found in the house.
I know that's right. I said you can't nobody find you in the house. I hear you.
I'm outside. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. Yes. Once again, relax, relate, to breathe. We like to again review Married at First Sight. Then we like to put our little nuggets in there, our little tidbits. And then, you know, as we move forward, again, once Married at First Sight is over, we're going to be having topics. If you have topics that you think would be good to discuss, please drop those in the comments. We would love to just have like dialogue. You guys are really all our family. And as we continue to grow, we want to grow as a family here on this channel. So subscribe, make sure that you share, make sure that you're getting the notifications, drop in the comments some topics that you think would be really good to cover by, you know, young professional Black women. And we're going to give you that from all aspects, you know, being real, talking about it. I think that that's just actually what this generation currently is about. And by this generation, I'm talking about me too. But I just think that even though it's younger than us, it's just a form to reach. It's different. So we're happy to discuss. And so we look forward to hearing from you guys. And until next time, relax, relate, to breathe. Bye.
Bye.
Follow us on social media.